The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Doctor Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise, meet some amazing people from hometown businesses, like Jeff Hahn from SC Parker, working to make your money grow in an ever-changing environment. Then find out about the work of Catholic Charities in Western New York with Chuck Hayes. And Doctor Kaplansky makes your smile bright for the warmer days ahead. All on this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise. Stay with us. Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK Buffalo on the Rise today is Jeff Hahn from SC Parker. Hi, Jeff.
Joe, I'm fine. How are you?
Well, I'm glad to see you. I'm doing very well. It's tax season, and I'm surprised that you don't look a little more perturbed. There aren't a few more wrinkles or something like that. Isn't tax season a busy time for you?
Well, it is a busy time for us. But I have an excellent staff and a really great group of people. We're extremely organized. We have our systems down. It's handled all in a very professional and positive manner.
There go the bonuses, by the way. That was the plug. Okay. Instead of the no, I'm just kidding.
No, really, but the staff we're all over it, and it really goes well for us. But it is very much busier. Yes.
I have to ask you this. Is it during the course of the year, do you guys self-audit, or do you have auditors that come in to look at things,
Yeah, that's a good question. We self-audit, so to speak, every day.
Okay.
We're always examining and cross-training. We call it flexible team tactics. So if somebody's out sick, the other people there know how to handle it really well, and the operation is kept very smooth and organized. We are also audited annually by folks from the compliance departments to make sure that we're complying with all of the regulation that we deal with.
How is that handled by staff? I mean, do you get announcements in advance, or do they just, kind of spring it on you?
No, they let us know ahead of time when there is a scheduled event. We have everything very well organized for them as well. Actually, the auditors like coming to our office because we have things so well organized and we treat them with a lot of respect and dignity.
Paula's Donuts.
No, I'll tell you, Joe, I just look at a donut now and I gain 2 pounds.
Tell me about it. That doesn't work. What about this time of the year, IRA contributions? Is that a big thing?
Yep. You can make IRA contributions to your account for last year, for 2024, up until April 15th. So if you still want to make that deductible contribution, you can do it. Right? And a lot of people do that. They'll go to their tax person, get their return and ask them, how much can I put into an IRA? And they'll come right over to the office with that information.
What happens, does anybody, I'm sure you've heard of all these things, if somebody takes some kind of a distribution or whatever, and they forget to put it on their taxes? I mean, really forget,
yeah.
And then they turn the taxes in and they're like,
Well, when you take a distribution from a retirement account, doesn't matter if it's a 401k or an IRA, 403b, any of those, you're going to get a 1099 that says how much you took out and hopefully how much you had withheld from taxes for that. But you have to supply that information to your accountant or a tax preparer, because the IRS gets a copy of that as well. So if you don't report it, then you're likely to get a letter from them saying, hey, you owe some taxes.
Do you get a lot of calls from people that do their taxes on their own?
Very few. And we know who our clients are that do their taxes on their own, and we have everything in very, very good order for them. The accountants love us, actually, because we do a lot of the work for them. We make sure our clientele, that their reports are all in good order, that they're complete, and that's a whole nother subject. But we go to great lengths to do that, Joe.
What about state of the markets?
The state of the market is we hit the stock market we're talking about. We hit a peak in mid-December. It's kind of gone up and come down and kind of gone this way, sideways. So we're in sort of a sideways market the last few days. We've had some downturn. We do think during the course of this year, we will have a correction. And that is when the stock market goes down 10% or more. Usually happens once a year. Last year it went down 12% in July into August, bounced right back. People have to remember, Joe, that the price of a stock may change hundreds or thousands of times a second.
Oh, I watched Wall Street. I know.
Yeah.
I know what it's all about.
Yeah. So that means the value of their accounts is changing by the second, and it's part of the deal, right? You just have to get used to it.
You just don't look at it every time a statement comes in and you know, with your magnifying glass. But okay, we've got about a couple of minutes left. What about the 100th year anniversary? It's coming up,
yes,
right?
S.C. Parker, Selby Parker founded our firm in 1925. And we have some pictures of him in the office doing the first trades on the Buffalo Stock Exchange in 1929, May of 1929.
Really?
Yeah. We'll be having some celebrations and events throughout the years, and we're really looking forward to it. We actually, Joe, have accounts on the books today that date back to the 1920s. We're on the 4th generation and the 5th generation of one particular family, but we have a number of them that those investment accounts have traveled through all of this time.
Passed down. Yeah. That's great. I always say to my kids, it's not about me, it's about what my ancestors have left you. Jeff Hahn from SC Parker, thank you very much. For more information and answers to your questions, contact SC Parker by calling 716-632-6800 or go to scparker.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by SC Parker. And don't forget to join me weekday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chilling, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Chuck Hayes, Chief Communication and Development Officer for Catholic Charities of Buffalo. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Chris.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Joe.
Let's talk about, Catholic Charities. Every year, we see, and hear about it, or we used to, and, in churches now. I guess some of us are having church a little bit more remotely than we did in the past. But do you think it's going to be a heavy lift this year trying to get to your goal?
Well, Joe, it's always a challenge. We have a hefty goal of $8.5 million, and that's not a small sum, especially in today's economy. There are a lot of challenges right here in Western New York. We know some employers have reduced workforce. There's changes in government programs and things like that. But we have a very generous community. People have given to the appeal for more than 100 years now. We're off to a really good start. The corporate community does very well in supporting local charities, and we think we're very hopeful that Western New Yorkers will step up again.
How does the appeal and the amount compare to last year?
So the goal that we set this year was $8.5 million. That's about $1 million less than our goal for last year. We didn't make last year's goal. And when setting the goal, there were a lot of considerations that went into that, not the least of which was the current economic environment, the toll inflation has taken on people, but also the changes in our diocese and the issues there and the the number of donors we have declines from year to year, simply because people move south or meet their eternal reward or whatever. So we decided to say, hey, let's go for 8.5 million. Not that the need was any less, it's certainly not. We need to meet that goal and actually surpass that goal to serve as many as people as we did last year.
You know, I think it's interesting in the fact that there are 147,000 people that are that are helped. And the other thing that I think that is important for people to realize, Catholic Charities isn't just affecting Catholics in the Western New York area, right?
That's right, Joe. So you walk down the aisle in the supermarket and count 10 people that you walk by.
Okay.
1 out of every 10 people in Western New York is helped by Catholic Charities. And it doesn't matter what race, age, religion that you come from. We help everyone. We're here for anyone who is in need. And you're right. I would say the vast majority of the people that come to Catholic Charities in need and requesting help are not Catholic. And
the workers, the volunteers, the people that you have at Catholic Charities as well, because it's largely made up of volunteers, right?
Exactly.
And they're from all different religions or backgrounds, correct?
Right. We have a tremendous base of volunteers who work with us in the various services and programs that we have. We have a lot of dedicated volunteers who work with us on the annual appeal. And yes, many of them come from different faith traditions because it's all about helping people and giving them hope.
Do you find that the volunteers that you have, do they come back year after year?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes, we have many volunteers who have been with us for a long time. That's the great thing is you get to see the rewards of your work when you brighten someone's day, when you put a smile on the face of a child, when you're able to give a warm coat to somebody who needs it or a bag of food to somebody who's hungry. You know that you've done some good, and that's really rewarding for our volunteers and our staff as well.
Chuck, what about individuals that you've helped before? Have they come back to you and offered their services?
So I had an incredible experience not too long ago at the holidays. I was at our food pantry in Lackawanna, the Russell J. Salvatore Food Pantry and Outreach Center. And a gentleman came in at the end of the session while we were open, and there really wasn't much food left. And I said, hey, I can pull some things together for you and let me get some stuff. And he said, no, that's not why I'm here. He said, I've been coming here for a while, but I don't need the food anymore. I want to know when I can help. I'd like to volunteer.
That's a nice testimonial,
yeah,
for something like that to happen.
That was an incredible story.
Tell me about Hope Day.
Hope Day is a tradition that began 7 years ago. This will be our 8th annual Hope Day on March 19th. And we're really excited about it. It is our single biggest fundraising day of the 6-month appeal campaign. On that day, we have some generous sponsors who will match the first $100,000 dollar for dollar. So when you make your pledge or your gift on Hope Day, that money is matched by sponsors like Catholic Health, One Bridge Benefits, Tops Markets, and several others. I know I'm going to leave some out, so I don't want to go down the litany of people who are helping us out here, but there are many organizations that have stepped up to do this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. 24-hour period for Hope Day last year, you raised almost $500,000?
Almost $500,000. So we exceeded our $300,000 goal, but we came a little short of the $500,000 mark. And since Hope Day began 7 years ago, we've raised $2.9 million on Hope Day total.
Okay, we're in our final minute. When does the appeal actually run again?
So the appeal kicked off in January and it ends June 30th. And it's really important that we meet for our fiscal year, that we meet our goal on or before June 30th. All we need is a pledge by that day. You can pay that pledge off throughout the year. So we're excited to get things going, and we've got a lot of things happening through the remainder of the appeal.
And can people donate online?
Oh, definitely. At ccwny.org/donate. we're seeing a big increase of online donations versus the checks coming in through the mail.
Chuck, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Joe, thank you.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Catholic Charities of Buffalo by calling 716-218-1400 or go to ccwny.org. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by Catholic Charities of Buffalo. And just a reminder to join me weekday mornings 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK. I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on the Big WECK. Joining us today on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise is Dr. Kaplansky. And I want to welcome you to the show today. I'm impressed by some of the things I see about you. You know, we do background, obviously, before we do a program like this. So I wanted to look up some things about you. First off, you started in business with a friend of mine in Niagara Falls, which was a while ago. But all of your certifications and things like this, you'll have to explain some of these things to me. Because if I look up dentists in general, I see a couple of things. Graduated from here, did work here, or whatever. But you're board certified in implant dentistry, diplomat of the American Board of Oral Implantology, fellow at the American Academy of Implant Dentistry, fellow International Congress of Oral Implantologists, fellow Academy of Dentistry, certified Zaga Center, which is kind of like a mystery to me. We'll have to ask you about that. But what do all these things mean? To me, this means that all dentists are not the same, right? I mean, but when you start looking at all these things, how long did it take to get these? And was it something that you planned originally, or did you say, these are the things I'm going to go for as far as certifications?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me
Sure.
to the program. It's my pleasure to be here with you. It's a lifelong journey, really. This obviously took years to accomplish. And unfortunately, that's what we see often now in practice is many younger dentists just fresh out of residency are doing these procedures, and they probably don't have enough experience yet to perform them.
When you start talking about things, and you start talking about implants, because it's something specifically that you do, is there something that they teach you in dental school with regard to implants? You know, something that all dentists do. And how did you move past that to come up with your own teeth now method?
Absolutely. So in dental school, you get some really basic rudimentary kind of education on all aspects of dentistry, on all the different procedures. So they can't really focus on anything too in-depth. And then after you graduate, that's when you expand your knowledge, then you kind of go more into the areas of your interest. So my area of interest was dental implants, and I really wanted to get much deeper knowledge in that area. And that's how it all happened.
Dental implants, and I have a very basic knowledge of these things, so I'm going to ask you, but you know, you start thinking about things like bone grafts and the prep work that goes into this, and it sounds very invasive to me. And as just a normal individual, I like to avoid pain.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we all do.
So I mean, you probably look the same way. You probably looked at this and said, there's got to be a better way to do this procedure.
True. So traditionally, dental implants aren't new. So they've been placed routinely for probably about 30 years now, with a lot of data, a lot of research, and it's backed up by science. Now, traditionally, the thinking in dentistry was that you have to prep the site first. So if the site or the bone in the area is deficient, you have to build it up. And how do you build it? By grafting bone, either from a donor or from animals. You would take the bone, graft it in the area, and then grow the bone, then place the implant. So that basically means multiple procedures, multiple surgeries, a lot of time and healing, discomfort, obviously, and patients, had a very, very long journey for absolutely no reason. So what we did, again, based on the current research and the modern science, is we changed the tactic a little bit. So we looked for solid native bone instead instead of using grafted bone that unfortunately a lot of times later turns into mush and it's not even usable, we use patient's native bone, which is stronger usually, doesn't require additional surgeries, and gives us better and faster results.
Is it a long, involved process?
The Teeth Now procedure that we kind of created is very streamlined. You literally, in 24 hours, you take patients from either no teeth or decayed, non-restorable teeth to permanent teeth, 24 hours.
Is it something that lasts the entire life, your entire life?
It can. It depends on a lot of factors. Most, again, scientific research shows us longevity of dental implants anywhere from 15 to 25 and more years. But a lot of it depends on patients' general health, which can change throughout their lifetime, and also on the maintenance, on care and maintenance. So we do insist that patients come back for routine hygiene so we can check things and clean things.
Are you trying to tell me that people don't generally take care of their teeth?
Sometimes they do.
You know, flossing is a big thing. You're trying to keep your teeth. I think that this is fascinating in itself. I think the fact that it's less invasive, your procedure, is a big thing. Not just, you know, for myself. I mean, I hate to sound like, you know, oh my, I don't want to have to go through this, but, you know, I had parents and grandparents that went through dentures, and many, many different kinds of dentures, and dentures that didn't seat right, and dentures that were constantly slipping, or whatever the case may be. So
we see it very common. It's a very common experience. Patients really hate their removable appliances. So I'm yet to see a patient who is happy with their denture. So that was another push in creating a process that would give people permanent teeth. So the teeth that they wouldn't have to remove every day to clean. Teeth that wouldn't hurt them when they chew, teeth that wouldn't fall out when they laugh. That's what we did.
So if you hate your removable, you know, appliance, you'd want to give Dr. Kaplansky a call. Dentistry by Dr. Kaplansky, 8038 Rochester Road in Gasport. Phone number 716-772-7500. drkaplansky.com is the website, drkaplansky.com.
Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following. Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.